Evan Hale, a quiet human soldier, stood in the middle of a massive hall made of glowing crystal. He did not understand why he was there. He had been taken from a transport ship without warning, placed into a silver shuttle, and flown to a world he had never seen before. Now he stood in front of 20 alien guards wearing dark armor and watching every movement he made. The air in the hall felt heavy, almost alive. Blue light pulsed in the walls like a heartbeat, and every echo of Evan's boots sounded too loud. He felt like he was inside the chest of some giant creature. No one spoke to him. No one explained anything. He was simply told, "Wait." Evan tried to stay calm. He had survived wars, broken planets, and long, silent nights in space. But this felt different, like something old and dangerous was waiting for him. Then the giant crystal doors at the front of the hall opened. Every guard instantly bowed. Evan did not. He did not know who he was supposed to bow to. A tall figure stepped through the doors. Her skin glowed like soft silver fire. Her eyes were bright violet, sharp enough to cut the air. She moved with calm power, like someone who had carried a kingdom on her back for many years. She wore a crown made of living metal that shifted slightly with every breath. Evan knew instantly who she was. The Queen of Valira, a ruler feared across half the galaxy. But something was wrong. Evan had read old reports. He remembered them clearly. The Valiran Queen had died 8 years ago in a brutal civil war. He had seen the images. Her body was carried away. Her empire nearly collapsed. Yet she stood in front of him now, alive. The Queen slowly walked toward him. The hall fell silent. Even the walls seemed to stop breathing. Evan's heart beat faster with every step she took. When she finally stopped in front of him, she looked up into his eyes. Something warm, almost emotional, flickered on her face. Then she whispered, "Do you remember me, soldier?" Evan froze. He had never met a queen in his life. He had never even spoken to a Valiran royal. But she sounded hurt, like his answer mattered deeply. Before he could speak, she reached into a fold of her robe and pulled out a small silver pendant. It was cracked and burned. A corner was stained with old human blood. Evan's eyes widened. He knew that pendant. It was his. He had lost it years ago in a battlefield while rescuing a small injured alien girl from burning ruins. He never learned her name. He never saw her again. The Queen's voice broke as she whispered, "You saved me when I had nothing. You told me to live. And I did." The guards looked up in shock. Evan took one step back. The young girl he saved had become a queen. And now she said softly, "I swore I would find you. Soldier, your life is tied to mine now." The alien guards formed a tight circle around Evan, but none of them touched him. They acted as if he was something dangerous or sacred. Evan could not understand which one. The Queen gave a soft gesture with her hand. The guard stepped back instantly. Evan noticed something strange. Every guard avoided making eye contact with him. Some even seemed afraid. He wondered why a simple human soldier was causing such reactions. The Queen turned and began walking toward a large door of violet metal. "Follow me, soldier," she said gently, yet with a tone that felt impossible to refuse. Evan hesitated for 1 second, then moved behind her. The moment he took his first step, the hall's walls shifted like ripples in water. The glowing crystal pulsed brighter, as if it recognized him. He swallowed hard. This place felt alive, and it reacted to him. They entered a long corridor. The air smelled like warm ozone, and alien symbols floated in the air like holograms. The Queen walked silently, her long silver hair trailing behind her like a comet tail. Finally, Evan spoke. "I don't understand why I'm here." The Queen stopped walking. She did not turn around. "You are here," she said softly, "because I called for you, and because you answered." Evan frowned. "I didn't answer anything. I didn't even know you were alive." Now she turned. Her eyes were sad. "I know. You do not remember. You were dying the day you saved me. You lost blood, lost memory, lost time. But she took a slow breath. "I remembered everything." Her words hit him like a shock. He remembered the battle 8 years ago. Fire, smoke, falling buildings. He remembered pulling a young alien girl from the rubble. But after that, everything was blurry. He had assumed she died, but she lived, and now she stood in front of him as a queen. The queen walked again, and Evan followed her into a room shaped like a giant dome. In the middle floated a large sphere of glowing blue mist. It swirled with light and shadows. "This," the queen said, "is the memory core of my people. It holds every oath, every debt, every bond." The sphere pulsed when Evan stepped closer. It reacted to him again. Evan felt his stomach tighten. "Why is it doing that?" The queen's voice lowered. "Because it remembers you. And because you carry something inside you that belongs to the throne." Evan blinked. "What do you mean?" She stepped closer to him. Too close, her voice now almost a whisper. "When you saved me, soldier, you touched the core shard, a piece of our ancient power. It fused with your blood. It made your life tied to mine." Evan felt his legs go weak. He had no idea his rescue had done something so huge. The queen touched the pendant gently. "You did not just save a girl," she said. "You became part of the royal line. And many do not want that to be true." The doors behind them suddenly slammed open. A group of armored aliens stormed in, weapons raised. Evan turned sharply. The queen's face hardened. "They have come," she whispered. "The ones who believe a human must not stand beside their queen." The alien soldiers who stormed into the chamber wore dark red armor. Nothing like the queen's royal guard. Their helmets were sharp, their glowing weapons pointed directly at Evan. He stood still, but his heartbeat pounded so loudly he could hear it in his ears. The queen stepped in front of him before he could move. "No one touches a human," she said, her voice low and dangerous. The red-armored leader laughed. "Your Majesty, you protect him too much. It makes us question your loyalty to your own species." The queen's eyes burned with violet fire. Loyalty does not mean blindness. The soldiers spread out, surrounding them. Evan's hands curled into fists. He had no armor, no weapon, nothing, yet the soldiers looked at him like he was a real threat. The leader pointed his weapon at Evan's chest. "We know what he carries in his blood. A human should not hold Valarian royal power. The throne belongs to your people, not to some outsider you rescued years ago." Evan blinked. So this was the reason. They didn't fear him. They feared what was inside him. The queen raised her hand slightly. "Stand down," she commanded. "This is not a debate. This is my order." But the leader did not obey. "The council will not accept him," the soldier hissed. "And the old enemy will sense his presence. You're putting the entire empire at risk." Evan frowned. "What enemy?" The queen did not answer immediately. Instead, she stepped closer to him, her voice turning soft again. "The war you survived years ago," she whispered, "never truly ended." Evan's breath caught. Flashbacks hit him. Explosions, screams, towers burning, ships falling from the sky. He remembered fighting, running, rescuing the small alien girl. He remembered pain and darkness. The queen continued. "The army that destroyed my family, the army that hunted my people, they are returning. They follow the energy of the core shard. And now that energy is inside you." Evan stared at her. "You mean they're coming for me?" "They will come for you," she said, "because they believe killing you will kill me. Our lives are joined." Before Evan could speak, the memory core in the room suddenly pulsed violently, bright enough to blind them for a second. A deep hum shook the floor. The queen's expression changed instantly. "They found him," she said. "They're on the edge of the solar system." The rebel soldiers froze, fear flashing through their eyes. The leader lowered his weapon, but not out of respect, out of panic. "You have doomed us all," he spat. "The old enemy knows where we are now." Evan stepped forward. "If they're coming for me, then send me away. I don't want your people dying because of me." The queen turned quickly, gripping his arm. "No," she said sharply. "I will not lose you again. I searched for you for 8 long years. You saved me once, soldier, and I will protect you now." He looked into her eyes and saw fear, anger, determination, and something deeper he could not name. The chamber shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. The queen whispered, "The enemy is here." The entire palace trembled as another shockwave passed through the crystal walls. The lights flickered, and a low alarm echoed across the halls like a distant scream. Evan looked around, trying to understand how a simple soldier had become the target of something so powerful. The Queen placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Come," she said. "There is something you must see before the enemy reaches us." The rebel soldiers hesitated, unsure whether to stay or run. The Queen ignored them and led Evan deeper into Memory Hall, through a door that opened only when she touched it. The air inside felt different, colder, heavier, full of ancient energy. Evan followed her down a narrow path, glowing with soft violet light. He could hear his own heartbeat. He could also hear hers, calm, but carrying a sadness he didn't understand. They entered a small chamber at the end. In the center stood a floating crystal mirror, its surface made of swirling silver mist. "This," the Queen said softly, "holds the true memory of the day you saved me." Evan stepped closer, unsure if he wanted to see it. The mist shifted and formed images, fire, ruins, screaming voices, collapsing walls. It was a battlefield he remembered, but clearer, sharper, alive again. He watched a younger version of himself dragging a small alien girl from burning rubble. She was crying, shaking, bleeding. He wrapped his jacket around her, pressed a pendant into her hand, and whispered something to her. The Queen raised her hand. The memory paused. Her voice was gentle. "Do you know what you told me that day?" Evan shook his head. "I don't remember anything after blast." She stepped closer, her eyes shining with emotion. "You told me, live, one day, choose peace, not fear." Evan didn't know what to say. He had said those words without thinking, just trying to comfort a child. But to her, those words had shaped the future. The Queen's voice softened even more. "My parents were killed in that attack. My people were scattered. I had nothing. But your voice, your kindness, kept me alive. Even when I had no power, no throne, no hope." She touched the mirror again. The memory moved forward. Young Evan shielded the girl from falling debris. A bright light hit him in the chest, the core shard energy, and he collapsed. The girl screamed his name, reaching for him as soldiers pulled her away. The Queen let the memory fade. "When I became Queen," she whispered, "I searched every star, every ruined world, every old battlefield for human who saved me. My people thought I was foolish. Some thought I was obsessed. But I owed you my life." Evan stared at her. He had never felt so silent. Another explosion shook the chamber. The walls flashed red. The Queen stepped closer, her face inches from his. "The enemy wants you because you carry the same power that saved me. But she hesitated, breath trembling. "I want you because you are the only person in the galaxy who ever saw me as something more than a crown." Evan felt the weight of her words, her gratitude, her fear, her loyalty. The alarm shrieked louder. The Queen whispered, "Soldier, they have broken into the palace." The alarms grew louder, echoing to the palace like a heartbeat of fear. Evan felt the floor tremble beneath his boots as he and the Queen rushed out of the memory chamber. The violet lights flickered and distant explosions shook the crystal towers above them. Alien guards ran past, shouting warnings. "The enemy is inside the shield. Protect the Queen." They're heading for the core center. Evan walked faster beside her. "What exactly do they want from me? If I'm the problem, I should leave." The Queen stopped so suddenly that he almost ran into her. "No," she said sharply. "You don't understand. If they take you, they will take the shard inside you. With that power, they can break our world. They can kill me, and they can destroy everything we rebuilt." Evan stared at her, confused and frustrated. "So all this, the attacks, the fear, the soldiers, is because of something inside my blood?" The Queen nodded slowly. "Yes, and because of something more." Before he could ask, she pushed open a hidden door. Behind it was a tall chamber filled with ancient carvings, floating orbs and a giant mural on the wall. The symbols glowed the moment Evan entered, like they recognized him. "What is this place?" he asked quietly. "The Chamber of Oaths," she said. "It records every sacred bond made in Valarian history." She stepped toward the mural and touched a glowing symbol. Instantly, the image shifted, forming the faces of a young alien girl and a badly injured human soldier. Evan felt his chest tighten. It was them. The Queen's voice lowered. This chamber shows not just what happened, but what was promised. Evan frowned. Promised? I don't remember making any promise. She looked at him with soft, sad eyes. You made one without knowing. When you saved me, when you told me to live, the core shard inside the ruins heard your words. It connected us. It marked us as a bonded pair, not by romance or blood, but by fate, by survival. Evan stared at the glowing mural, unable to speak. The Queen continued. Such a bond is rare. It means your life force can protect mine, and mine can protect yours. If one of us dies, the shard reacts. It can cause a collapse. Our enemies know this. That is why they want you. Evan ran a hand through his hair. So I didn't just save a child. I changed your whole destiny. You changed more than that, she whispered. Another powerful explosion shook the palace. Dust filled the corridor, and lights cracked overhead. A guard stumbled in, armor scratched and smoking. Your Majesty, they have reached the inner gates. They are demanding we hand over the human. They say they will burn the capital if we refuse. Evan stepped forward. Then hand me over. Save your people. But the Queen grabbed his arm hard. No, I will not lose you again. I will not lose the one person who made me believe in peace. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with emotion. Soldier, you did not just make a promise to save me. You made a promise that shaped my entire reign. The ground shook violently, closer than ever. The Queen whispered, "They're coming for you now." The palace shook so violently that cracks crawled across the crystal floor. Evan and the Queen ran to the final corridor, the guards falling back as enemy forces blasted their way through every defense. Red alarms flashed overhead, turning everything into a storm of shadows and light. A violent explosion ripped open the far wall. Dozens of dark-armored invaders stormed inside, tall, sharp, monstrous aliens with glowing red eyes. Their leader pointed at Evan instantly, as if he had only one purpose. "There!" the creature growled. "Take the human alive. Kill the Queen if she interferes." The Queen stepped in front of Evan, her energy flaring with silver flame. "You will not touch him." The enemy soldiers charged. The Queen released a burst of violet light, knocking several attackers across the hall. Evan ducked behind a broken pillar, heart pounding, watching the battle erupt around him. The Queen fought with the strength of a storm, every move fast, sharp, impossible to follow. But the enemy kept coming. Their leader roared, "The shard inside the human is ours." Two soldiers broke past the Queen and sprinted toward Evan. Evan had no weapon, no armor, nothing. But something inside his chest, the shard, suddenly glowed hot, pulsing like a heartbeat made of fire. Evan raised his hand without thinking. A shockwave exploded outward. The two attackers flew backward, as if hit by an invisible hammer. Evan stared at his hands, shocked. The shard's energy was reacting to danger. It was protecting him. The Queen turned just in time to see it. Her eyes widened. "You awakened it," she whispered. The shard recognized as a threat. The enemy leader looked furious. "Then we take his heart and rip the shard out of it." He leapt toward Evan with a blade of red plasma. The Queen shouted his name and threw herself between them. The blade slashed across her side, not deep, but enough to make her stumble. She fell to one knee, breathing hard. Evan ran to her. "You're hurt." But she pushed him away weakly. "No, stay back. The shard reacts stronger when you are in danger. If he kills me, you will unleash something even worse." The leader raised his blade again. Evan stepped forward, anger burning through his fear. "No." The shard inside him flared brighter than ever. Blue energy surged from his chest and wrapped around him like armor made of light. The floor vibrated. The air trembled. The enemy leader charged. Evan met him head-on. A massive burst of shard energy erupted between them, throwing the leader across the hall and slamming him into a wall so hard the crystal shattered. The enemy forces froze, terrified. Evan stood in the middle of a glowing crater, breathing hard, sparks still floating around him. The queen looked up at him, her eyes full of disbelief and something softer. "You saved me," she whispered. "Again." The remaining enemies began to retreat, dragging their unconscious leader with them. The invasion had failed. The queen reached for Evan's hand as the halls fell quiet. "Soldier, this is only the beginning. The galaxy will come for you now. For us." Evan looked at her, the shard still glowing faintly inside him. "Then we face them together." The queen smiled, not as a ruler, but as someone who had found something she thought she lost forever. "You once told me to live," she whispered. "Now I ask you, stay alive with me." The palace lights steadied. The war was not over, but the bond between them had just begun.